Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Good evening, dear friends. So nice to be with you here this Sunday evening, 6 p.m., our daily prayer. My name's Teresa Castro, and I'll be hosting the Sunday 6 p.m. prayer. And before our prayer, we have another beautiful message by André, Luiz, psychographed by Chico Xavier. And the book is titled Green Light, by the Spirit André Luiz, psychographed by Chico Xavier. And the chapter we're going to be reading is chapter 19, Commitments of Work. Never be ashamed or complain when serving. It is our simple duty to enhance professional work by acquiring new knowledge. Cooperate with management by doing your job correctly without inviting praise. In any situation, do not diminish or depreciate the efforts of your colleagues. Never pretend to be feeling sick with an eye to getting benefit from official organizations, for life usually charges a high price for such lies. Do not attribute only to yourself the success of this or that task. Recognize that in any work, the spirit of a team has to be taken into consideration. Obstructing work is to always hinder our own interest. To accept or to encourage disorder is to support our own imbalance. There are innumerable ways of promoting as well as improving yourself in the area where you perform work without causing disrespect, confusion, bitterness, or revolt. Remember that in terms of my goodness, I can't pronounce this word. For getting paid, those who work should be paid, just as those who are paid should also work. Remuneration. I'm going to have to practice that word. Okay, so it's a wonderful message about work and the importance of work and how really he gives us a guideline of how to work. He talks about cooperating and not diminishing or depreciating efforts of our colleagues and being considerate. So he gives us a blueprint of how we can work rightly and to the benefit of all. So in the Good News book by Humberto de Campos, psychographed by Chico Xavier, it's not yet in English, but it soon will be. Jesus says that work is any useful job and that every honest work is of God. And this is from chapter 18 out of Boa Nova. Good news. I better stick to English. So this is good because we so often can think about work as being something we have to do. And it's a good question to ask. Hi, Kardec Radio, and thank you, Abby Shear, for signing on. Hello, welcome to you all. So what we're talking about is work, and we read out of the Green book by André Luiz, psychographed by Chico Xavier, about commitments, work commitments. And we're also talking about work being any useful job and that every honest work is of God. And this is taken from the book Good News, chapter 18, where Jesus is having a conversation with Simon Peter. And so he emphasizes that point that, it's a good question for us to ask ourselves, how do we think about our work? What feelings, what thoughts come up for us when we think about work? And that to remember that work is for the good of all, and that we are led to the work or position we deserve. Hello, Alexandre. Welcome. Thank you for being here. And so I want to take us now for a moment to the book Thought and Life, chapter 7, where Emmanuel, Spirit Emmanuel, psychographed to Chico Xavier, and it is the chapter 7, entitled Work. And he reminds us that work, there is a law of work. So the law of work is the path to freedom. And to avoid it, he says, it's like being on a highway and stepping on the roadside and watching the traffic of evolution pass us by. And he says, what ends up happening is we become, we fall into the illusion of laziness and idleness, which, when we think about it, we can all have in our minds at times about, if we could just be on the beach every day, if we didn't have to work, we could do this and that and the other thing. But if we speak to somebody who's newly retired, or they talk about, it can sometimes be boring and needing to find ways of making themselves useful. So, but he also goes on to say, it's not the point about being busy. So we can think, well, I do this, I volunteer here, I volunteer there, I do all these things, because he says, even the lower zones are a beehive of activity. So it's not to just be busy with ourselves, but he talks about of learning to serve with pleasure, learning to work with pleasure, for doing the good and being useful and helpful, and recognizing that. He says that actions transforms the environment, but service transforms us. And we should also consider as well the flip side of those people who are attached to their work, who see their title of position or as who they are. So it's self-centered, it's selfish, it's not helping the collective as a whole. And we know about when we are attached to anything, it causes conflict in our life. So not just at work, but it's going to cause conflict in all our relationships and show up when we are attached. So he goes on to say that the spiritual realm, work is not imposed, but with elevated spirits who are conscious of truth, they understand that doing good for all, for the good of all, aligns oneself with God. And so they see work as an opportunity. So I really feel like the message tonight is inviting us to maybe take a look at our work attitude, or our feelings about work, or how we behave at work, and to just maybe re-examine that. Is there some room for improvement? And of course, this feeling of to serve others or to do the good just for the good for goodness sake, so to speak, that we should remember that feeling starts with thought. And so we can start to ignite that feeling by thinking different, adjusting our attitude, so to speak, about maybe how we are at work. So we will head off into our 6 p.m. prayer now that it's 6:10, and we'll bring these teachings with us all this beautiful knowledge that we've gained about work and take this with us into our prayer. So let us prepare ourselves for prayer by taking a deep breath. Let us relax in whatever place, environment we are, whether sitting, lying down. Let us feel that surface that we're upon. Let us connect and feel connected to Mother Earth. No matter we be up on the 12th floor of an apartment building, let us feel connected. We focus on our breath. Let thoughts go by as the boat on a river. We let the body and the mind relax. And we opened our hearts to the Mother, Father, God. We thank you for all the blessings that have been our way. Let us pass them forward as we remember those who are in more need than ourselves. We praise you, Eternal Creator, as we remember that we are your children. We are loved with all the beautiful things we create, as well as during those times of our mistakes. Help us in loving each other and doing to each other as we would like done to ourselves. Let us take a moment and feel sending waves of hope and love to those who are suffering. A suffering we may not be experiencing at this moment. But let us raise ourselves in sending love, light, and help toward those who are suffering physical, mental illnesses. Help us to remember that it is our spirit to open up toward treatment. We take this moment and thank the mentors of Kardec Radio, our personal guides, guardian angels, and those family, whether incarnate or discarnate, that surround us. Those people in our life who have given us so much support over the years. Let us feel gratitude in our hearts. With humility, respect, and gratitude, we humbly ask for ongoing protection throughout our week. And we ask permission to close this session. And so be it. Thank you all for joining me this evening at 6 p.m. for our prayer. And God willing, we'll see each other again for our evening prayer at 6 p.m. next Sunday. Have a good week and show some love and kindness, cooperation at work this week. Let us take that forward into our work week. Whether we work at home, in an office, a volunteer job, whatever it is useful, we'll remember the words of Jesus. So be it. God bless.